Okay, guys, so there is a problem with Spamhaus and a bunch of registries which are using its block lists. The thing is, these registries use the Spamhaus block lists to automatically, meaning without any manual checking, suspend domains. So, suspend here means a server hold status, which means that your domain will not resolve on the internet. Also, the process for delisting or unsuspending is also not that quick. It's very annoying to deal with. Now, the thing is, Spamhaus is a block list for email, and it should not be used for suspending a domain completely because Spamhaus has a lot of issues like false positives. Normally, false positive should not be a problem, should not be that big of a problem because you would mostly check an email against a certain number of registries or against a certain number of block lists, and then you would decide whether or not to throw the email away. But with this setup, it's much more dangerous. And also, the stuff for delisting and Spamhaus is very, very annoying to deal with. I will show you in the next section. Also, let's say there's a business which has a website, and the website is very important for that business to run. If Spamhaus for some reason does not like that business, they can just put their domain into the block list. These registries will automatically suspend that domain, and it will take at least 1 to 2 days, which is a very optimistic figure, for the website to come back up. This is a very fragile kind of setup, and it's prone to denial of service attacks like this. Now, uh, the fault lies with both of them, but when they combine it, the, the fault lies with both the registries and the Spamhaus team, but when it combines, it makes things much worse. So, before coming to the solutions, I'll just show you some of my experiences. So, what happened was, this was my first time setting up an email server. I was using Docker Mail Server, I think, or maybe Maddie, but right now I use Docker Mail Server. And I noticed that, I set up my email client and I tried to send a test email, but then I noticed that my domain was not resolving. I thought maybe I put the wrong port in the email client, but even on the normal, HTTPS uh, protocol, my domain was not resolving. Then I thought that this may be a problem with the configuration. I was messing with the settings to get DNSSEC and some other things or SSL or something. But when I checked on Pogwin, everything was normal. What I did was, when I was using the dig command on Linux, I explicitly specified Porkbun's name servers. That was when my domain resolved. So I thought, okay, the problem lies with the central, name server and Porkbun's name server. But I did not understand it yet. I mean, I did not know what server hold means. It was there on the Porkbun dashboard, but I did not know what it means. I did not even notice it. So by the way, this is not sponsored by Porkbun, but Porkbun support is really great, and SMTP2 support is also really great. So they said that, okay, you've been server holded by your registry, and we cannot do anything about it. So then I went to the registry's website for a delisting or an unsuspension request, which looks like this. I mean, I cannot show you right now because my domain is now unsuspended, and I don't know of a domain which is already suspended to get to this page. But anyways, so you have to provide evidence of delisting from all of these blacklists, which is kind of crazy. And you'll be suspended for abuse reported, not verified, just reported. So, uh, I was able to get myself from away from all of these, but Spamhaus was still remaining. But even getting delisted from these was not that quick. It will take at least 1 to 2 days. So, coming to Spamhaus now, this ticket is not, showing for some reason. Maybe they hid it or something. But okay, this is the continuation ticket. In this ticket, I basically said that, my domain has been added to your block list, and they said that we cannot verify that you are the owner of this domain, and therefore you have to provide proof of ownership. So I sent a video of me opening the Pokemon dashboard. What they actually wanted me to do was to remove who is privacy and then contact them using the same email, but that actually leaks your address on the internet in a permanent manner. Now, I mean, it may be unlikely that someone will get your voice within that time frame where of you disabling and then enabling it again. But I did not want to do that. So then I contacted Perk1 support, which is again great, and they said that Spamhaus can send them a verification code which they will pass to me, and then I will pass it back to Spamhaus. So that would be like an OTP verification. Then they also sent me this, which is basically a two-way street. So when the person will verify their email address, then they can get the email address or contact the owner of the domain, which is fair enough. But I just got the same copy paste response and this all caps and stuff. I mean, this person is notorious for some reason. At this point, I just gave up and I rage quit. Then I contacted XYZ and told them that Spamhaus is not cooperating. So I think after a week, they saw my request and unsuspended my domain. And they said that if the abusive traffic does not stop, we will suspend it again. But okay, whatever. I don't care. At that point, I gave up and I bought a .com domain. By the way, I'm still on Spamhaus. So yeah. So uh, that was my experience. Paul Graham had a similar experience, though. I mean, I think it's an old story. This post is actually very recent, and it is very similar to my case. It's the same person again with the same kind of tone. Uh, yeah, I will link these posts in the description. Don't worry about that. Okay, I showed you this and this. Apart from XYZ, there's also a Radix registry which uses Spamhaus. It controls .lol domains, so just be careful. Now, for solutions, the thing is, if you're not using your domain for email, I mean SMTP, like outgoing email, you probably don't have to do anything. You can just continue as it is. But you cannot really trust any of these registries now because today they are using Spamhaus to automatically suspend your domain, and Spamhaus just checks outgoing email. That's fine. But tomorrow there may be some antivirus or hateful or not hateful but harmful content detector that may find your website's content problematic and add you to some kind of a block list, or you may be sharing like exe or apk files or open source files, and it may think that you are spreading malware because let's say you have kind of something which requires admin permissions. It may think you're hosting malware and add your domain to a block list, and then these registries may use it and just remove your domain. So just be careful. But for now, there's no problem. If you are using it for email, I just get a .com. It's not that much more expensive. On Pokben, it's $8 to register or $10, and .xyz is $2. But the renewal cost is almost the same, around $10 to $11. But .com renewal is like 10 cents cheaper, which is which basically the same cost. Also, since this was my first time, I did not know that you should age your domain. So I just the day I registered my domain, I used it for sending emails. Also, this is the main helpful tip: is you to use a relay. Now, you will not be completely independent when you're using a relay, but let's say you get on one of these block lists. Even if your domain does not get suspended, but you get on these block lists, and then you try to sign up for SMTP2Go, for example, you will not be able to make an account mostly. So that is a problem. And also, SMTP2Go is not that much of a hassle to set up. You just have to change 5 to 6 configuration lines in whatever email server. The free plan is more than enough, 1,000 emails per month. I mean, I personally only use outgoing email for a patch request to source at, or like 1 or 2 emails per 6 months. So this is enough for me. Okay, I think I mentioned that I'm not sponsored by any of these, but anyways, so yeah, that was the solution that I found, and yeah, I mean, that was the video. I'll put these references in the description. Bye.